Hey, internet friends, it's me, Bradley G, here at the Synergy Cafe, and today I've got a special guest because he's also a master of legerdemain, and he's in the green room right now, and I'm going to go get him. But this is going to be fun. This is going to be something that's basically for people that exhibit at trade shows. So exhibit managers, if you know somebody like that, you want to forward this on to people that need something special to draw that crowd in and qualify those leads and get them into the sales process. And this gentleman helps companies do that. And let me go get him right now. His name is Danny, and the last name is Orleans. Is he there? Danny, how you doing?
I sure am. Hey, Brad. Great to see you.
Greetings. It's good to be seen. So this is kind of fun. I don't interview a lot of magicians, and because a lot of them they're busy doing magic tricks, and I kind of like to see people that do make magic happen.
Aha.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir. And you got that itch.
I do. I make the magic happen for exhibitors at trade shows.
Right.
I use magic as a medium to draw traffic to the trade show booth. That's what it's all about.
How long have you been doing that?
Wow. Remember Windows 95, Brad?
Okay.
There you go. That's about when I started in the mid 90s. And so I've been doing it for nearly 30 years.
Sure. Well, what was it that got you into doing the trade show thing rather than doing kitty birthday parties at the library or
well, I did kitty birthday parties at the library when I was in my teens and early 20s. And I love doing magic for children. But I found that I was able to incorporate corporate messages into a magic trick. And I learned this by watching some magicians on the trade show floor, because magic on the trade show floor has been a thing since the 1960s, even earlier, going back into the 50s. There were
Don Allen, wasn't he? He was a trade show guy, wasn't he, Don Allen?
Don Allen, but before him, Eddie Tulloch and Bud Dietrich. There was a bunch of them back in the late 50s, early 60s. I'm kind of the second generation of trade show magicians.
Okay. And you are well kept. I mean, you told me how old you were, and I won't expose that secret, but
they can find it on Wikipedia.
There we go. So where are you based out of?
So I live in Chicago, and I travel nationwide, worldwide, really, doing shows at most of the major convention centers in North America and many in Europe.
And a major one there right in Chicago, isn't that McCormick Place there?
Yes, it is. It's number 3 if you're counting number of trade shows per year. Mm-hmm.
Well, what's 1 and 2?
Number 1 is Las Vegas, which wins by a long shot because there's many convention centers in Las Vegas. There's 3 big ones, and each of those has several halls. So, there's the Las Vegas Convention Center, the old Sands Convention Center, which is now called the Venetian, and Mandalay Bay. And then over at Caesars and at Paris and at, the Wynn, they all have trade show spaces too, as well as many other hotels.
What's number 2?
Orlando. The Orlando Convention Center is gigantic. It's almost a mile long from east to west, situated in between the 2 Rosen Hotel properties, and they also have some major hotels with convention space. The Gaylord Hotel is there. The large Marriott, the Swan Dolphin. There's a lot of major convention centers in it.
And I can tell that you really enjoy it. I watch your YouTube demos sometimes. You're sharing some of the stuff that people can do to attract attention, something beyond a candy dish. And
yeah, I actually put those on LinkedIn, and because I feel like that's the space where marketing managers, the people who arrange the exhibit halls, that's kind of where they hang out. The B2B area. And this is all about, trade shows are all about B2B for the most part.
Sure.
And so that's what I specialize in.
And I noticed a few years back, they used to talk about it being exhibit marketing, and now they've kind of made it experiential marketing.
Well, exhibit marketing is a bigger phrase. It's a bigger umbrella that encompasses experiential marketing as a strategy, a specific strategy, which gives the attendee at the trade show an experience that they remember. So as opposed to just watching a demo of the software, for example, or the demo on how the saran wrap can go over the bowl and keep the food fresh, or whatever the product is that they're demonstrating, what has really started is experiential marketing, sometimes called engagement marketing, that gets the attendee involved in some kind of process, some kind of experience, very often involving more than just the sense of sight. So, for example, using a robot in a trade show booth, and a robot that maybe calls you by name, or a robot that can answer a question is really unique. It provides a selfie moment. It's fun. It's so different than what's on the trade show floor, because that's the key.
Yeah, we used to use this woman locally here, Mannequins in Motion. She sold her company, but she was a human robot kind of thing, and that was always a draw. But the thing with magic is there's, like, I tell people that the thing about magic is it's magic. You can do anything and create that illusion with the magic, and you can tie that in. You're basically kind of like a speed bump in the aisle to get people to slow down and go, what? Oh, what's that all about? And now you can engage and interact and talk and communicate.
It does. I'll show you a couple of pictures of me, actually doing this.
Here's your friend Jerry. He says, "Do you have a favorite convention center?"
Do I have a favorite convention center? Well, San Diego. It's more about the city that it's in as opposed to the actual convention center, because I'm telling you, they all pretty much look alike. Big ceilings, fluorescent lighting, noisy environments. Yeah.
Maybe any way that it's easy to get through the whole thing. So I'll put your PowerPoint up here, and you can walk us through it and share a little bit.
Sure. So, here's an image of me, on the trade show floor, and you can kind of see how I'm drawing people to the booth, and I'm in a very small booth here. This is just a 10-foot by 10-foot booth, yet I'm able to draw. There's 6, 7, 8 people there watching a 10-minute presentation that mixes the corporate marketing message with my magic tricks. And sometimes I work at very large booths. This booth was a booth at ExxonMobil at the convenience store show. This was at the PPAI show, which is about promotional products. And, they had a big booth. This is the largest booth I've ever worked. This booth, and that's the entire booth behind me, by the way, that's all one booth, was 100 feet by 200 feet.
Wow.
At the Construction Expo. And you can see over here, these are large pieces of equipment that crush rock at mines. And these people all worked in the mining industry. And that was 15 years ago, that show, but one of my favorite photographs. And here's a more recent photograph where I was working at a show that was all about the food supplement industry. So there's so many different industries.
Yeah.
Do you know, Brad, you can take the slide off now if you want. You can, there are over 250 trade shows in the United States every week.
Right.
Every week.
A lot of people don't realize that, ASAE, American Society of Association Executives, it's an association of associations. So up here we got the Pork Producers of Minnesota and the Turkey Growers Federation and the pork producer. There's probably a trade show for those little plastic things on the end of your shoelace. I worked with Seth Kramer once at the Product Label Manufacturers Association there at McCormick Place. They got
private label. Private label.
Yeah, PLMA.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
there's a trade show for everything. And remember TSN when that I used to go on there to find all the different shows. They're all over the place.
yeah, at TSNN, yeah, they still list all the trade shows that are taking place. There's regional shows, there's national shows, and like you said, every possible industry, banking, the restaurant industry, the hotel industry, everything computer software. And there's lots of niches within the computer software area too. So many trade shows.
And I want to also kind of express to people, I'm going to put your how to get a hold of you right there.
Sure.
That anybody that's interested in talking with Danny, that if you're thinking about this kind of thing, because a lot of exhibitors are clueless as far as what they should really be doing. Because I see people all the time and they say, trade shows never worked for us. And I'm going, no, you just don't know how to work a trade show.
That's right.
Well,
because what you have to be able to do is stop the traffic. Do you know what the most common interaction is between somebody walking down the aisle and an exhibitor just standing there? The most common interaction. It's not a handshake.
Yeah,
it's not like, hello.
How's the show today?
Nope. The most common interaction is a nod. People walking past, they go like this, and the person in the booth goes like this. They've recognized each other, but the attendee walks right past them. And there's
especially these days with the way people are, the younger generation, it's like, don't call me, don't fax me, don't text me, don't knock on my door, don't mail me anything. If I want it, I'll Google it. So they're walking down with the blinders on. So they need to see something that's magical that attracts them and to go, hey, I should check this out. This guy's not trying to close me or anything. I want to see that thing he did with that red ball. That was kind of cool.
And Brad, if you put my slides back on, I'll show you that there's so many experiential marketing strategies that work very effectively on the trade show floor to draw traffic and deliver the marketing message. Let me just show you.
I'll put them back up there, but here you got a couple of fans here. Here's your friend Ari Novik.
There will be a recording later, Ari. Sorry that your internet isn't streaming well.
And then we've got Philip.
So what Phil's asking is that he's asking about the scripts. Phil looks like he's a magician. He's holding up a playing card. So what I do is I create a 15-page script for the client. I take their marketing message, I put it into a script form, and I send it to them. And then they can check to make sure I'm using industry terminology correctly and that their marketing message is balanced. So, and I put a lot of time into it. Phil, to answer your question, several hours to be able to do that. And depending of how accurate how good a job I do, it goes back and forth between the client and me a couple of times. Yeah.
Fred says he experienced the nod over in New York.
There you go. There you go. So
I'll get your PowerPoint back up there.
Yeah,
right?
put my PowerPoint. So there's just a lot of trade show exhibit marketing strategies. Here's just a few I've seen. There's obviously the product demonstration. And if you have a good one, it is the absolute best way to draw people in because they are there at the end of the day to learn about products. According to a survey that was done a number of years ago, trade show magicians are the number 2 way to draw traffic to a booth. And then robots are number 3. Other ideas are a mascot in full costume, a corporate juggler that is able to talk about your product or services while they're juggling. I've seen a plate spinner be very effective, because that's what people do, right? They're keeping all the plates up, all the balls in the air. So there's easy ways to, incorporate messaging for those performers that can do that. I've seen acrobats, celebrity impersonators like with Elvis or Marilyn Monroe or Albert Schweitzer, be very effective as selfie opportunities. And if those actors can be taught just even a couple of sentences about what the company does, even better. Caricaturists are great. I have a picture of one I'll show you in a minute. Fortune tellers, handwriting analysts. Now a big thing is puppy pet parks where they bring in 6 or 7 dogs. They put them in a fenced in area and they let people come in and pet the puppies. And it's done as kind of a de-stressing opportunity for people.
Yeah.
Finally, interactive games create a really fun experience for people. Beanbag tosses, miniature golf, basketball tosses, giant dice roll. I'll show you a picture of that in a minute. Are all really good. A couple of months ago, I saw a woman who was teaching people how to twist balloons into balloon animal shapes. And she had a set of instructions there, and the instructions were 3 different types. One was all words, one was words and pictures, and one was all pictures. And people were able to learn that through pictorial instruction, which is the kind of software that the company was selling, they were able to learn quickest. It was a very clever idea. Here's the caricaturist. They're now doing it digitally, Brad. They draw on a tablet, they print it out, and look right here. That's the company logo that ends up right on the image. When it's printed out, instead of 8.5 by 11, they're now 4 by 6, which fit perfectly in the badge. So in the badge holder. So now people wear their caricature around the trade show, and it serves as a walking billboard for the company because their logo's on it. Very clever. Here's a really super cheap idea. A company hired an actor to walk around with cardboard signs that are kind of reminiscent of what you see homeless people in the street, right? But I'll tell you, it was so different. Everybody saw it. Everybody read it. And it drove people to this booth here, the CTM booth right there. They drew their logo in by hand. That was a pharmaceutical research show that I was at. This is hard to tell here, but because everything's kind of black over here. But this woman is wearing a punching glove, and she is that's a punching bag here. And she's wearing a boxing glove, and the draw was, see the word knocking out? This software said they knock out the competition. And they had a little punching bag there that digitally measured the force of the punch that people did. So it was so much fun. Like, what a great idea. Just a really, really good idea. So those are just, a few of the ideas that I've seen recently that were just so effective in getting people involved in the process.
Okay. You done with the point?
Yeah.
Okie dokie. We're back then. Cool. Yeah. You mentioned that caricature thing. I did a trucking show, and we had pre-printed of their truck with the window, and then the caricatures did a picture of the guy's head sticking out the window as he's driving the truck.
Oh, great idea.
So you got everybody driving a direct service truck.
Yeah,
it's fun to sit around and get creative with all the stuff you can do at a trade show.
It's so good.
Again, magic, I think, is one of the best because of the ability to do anything.
Right. The magician can turn $1 bills into $100 bills, as we talk about how the client can save the customer money or increase their bottom line. We can do a magic trick where we're able to foretell the future, which relates right to anticipating the needs of customers.
Yeah.
I do a magic trick with a borrowed wristwatch. Somebody lends me a wristwatch, and the hands on the watch magically turn backwards in time. And when they turn backwards in time, you can relate that to efficiency, saving a client time, saving a customer time, and speeding a product to market. There's all sorts of ways that the props that magicians use can link to the features and benefits of the exhibitor.
Right. And again, that's one of the reason I've been doing magic since I was like 4.
Yeah.
My brain has developed that way. I think it's just fascinating how you can do basically create the illusion of anything. Like Copperfield's going to make the moon disappear.
Yeah. Yeah, supposedly by the end of the month. I'm excited to see that.
Yeah, so at a trade show, I think it's perfect for something like that, because whether you're looking to increase sales or just brand recognition, or if your whole thing is about communicating a message that you want to get across.
Right. And, trade show magicians are known to double or triple lead counts for clients. So, if an exhibitor spends $100,000 to exhibit at a trade show and they get 100 leads, they are now paying $1,000 per lead. right?
And also,
But if they spend 5% or 10% more money and they hire a corporate magician, they can double their lead count, which brings their cost of each lead is like $51 or $52 a lead. So
well, first you have a savvy magician that is familiar with being in front of a crowd, knows how to establish that rapport,
right.
which maybe a salesperson's going to have a little bit of a challenge with that because they're going, he's trying to sell me something. But a magician, it's like, here, pick a card. You know,
And yeah, for a moment, you're helping the attendee escape the busyness and the
right.
interaction of the trade show floor. The other challenge that sales forces have is that salespeople are trained to sell a product in a boardroom situation where everything is quiet, there's no distractions, and people are locked in and have made a time obligation to spend anywhere from 15 continuous minutes to maybe an hour. Where on the trade show floor, there's so much hubbub, so much distraction that it's very difficult to work the same kind of pacing. So the magician gathers a crowd, does a 10-minute presentation filled with interaction, live marketing, branding, and fun, and it just softens up the attendee, making them much more willing to watch a more formal presentation.
And I think, again, because the magician sort of doesn't look like they work for the company, they can ask these questions like, who here is responsible for making the purchases in your company? And you can ask questions like that. And then the salespeople should watch who's raising their hand.
Yeah. I always tell my sales force to really not only see who's raising their hand, but also to read the badges of the people who are gathered around me, because when they read the badge, they can see often the position that the person has in the industry, if they're a good decision maker, or what company they're from.
We used to do that, not so much a big presentation at the booth, but just a smaller 10 by 10 where we're talking with the people. And then as a gift, they would get a thing we put on their badge. And that symbol, whether it be a little embroidery bee or some other kind of sticker, the team knows if that person is qualified, has already been talked to, or if they're not qualified.
Yeah, those are great ideas to manage trade show traffic flow.
Let's get that back up there again. I was going to ask you something else, and I forgot what it was. I had one of those senior moments, if you know what I mean.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Did you? But if you could maybe share some more about, I know what it was. It was about hospitality suites, because you also are able to work the booth's hospitality room to take a step further with the VIPs, right?
Yeah. Sometimes, companies will have entertainment at night. They'll have an event at night. They're not as hospitality suites. That phrase is a little bit old-fashioned now. It's more like an event, and usually a hospitality suite took place in a hotel suite, hence the name. Now, really what's happening in the industry is people are renting a restaurant space or the back room or a private room in a restaurant, and people will meet there and have a dinner. And that's often where I'll work. Or they'll have an event, a big cocktail reception in the evening. One thing that's interesting, Brad, that you didn't ask me about is trade show giveaways. And trade show giveaways are a big subject. And one thing that's so much fun about being a magician at a trade show booth is I've created specific giveaways that are magical. So it's a magic trick that the attendees can do, and I can demonstrate these in the booth and then actually perform them. So and then give them away. And one thing I have is called the magic curves. And I'll show you this. It's really fun. And I just take these two curves, and Warescape was a software company that I did some work for. And you can see that the white one's a little smaller than the red, right, Brad? Yeah. But if you were to stretch the white one like this, you'll see that now the white one is actually bigger than the red. And if you stretch the red one like this, then the red one becomes a little bit bigger than the white, which of course means if you wave them in the air at the same time, they'll both be exactly the same size, proving that Warescape is a perfect fit. for your company. So you see what I
Very
did
good.
there? See?
And that's something they get to take with them.
Right. And even comes with a set of instructions. And the best thing about the instructions are not only does it show how it works, but there's room on the back for the company message to go.
Right.
And of course, their website.
Exactly. Rather than giving them a bunch of squeezy balls for the grandkids to play with.
Right. Right. It's again, it's memorable. It's different than anything else on the trade show floor.
Well, this is very interesting. It's refreshing again to see somebody that understands the marketing and the magic rather than just trying to trick people and blow their minds. Well, there's a lot of communication that could be done with something like that.
Yes, absolutely. And so, the magician will, really do a few things at the same time. We draw traffic to the booth. We communicate the marketing message. We differentiate the booth from anybody else on the trade show floor. And that's why I do, I perform at about 25 to 30 trade shows a year in virtually every industry.
And you can qualify to see if they are a prospective buyer or a tire kicker.
It just creates more conversations between the booth staff and the attendee, and, more traffic, more conversations, more leads, more business. That's really, what it's all about at the trade show.
Absolutely. Well, Danny, I'm going to put you into the green room there if you want to stick around. And if there's anything else you got to share with us, maybe another message.
Okay, great. I'll sit in the green room. Thanks.
Okay, buddy. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, there it is. That's how you get a hold of Mr. Danny Orleans right there. CorporateMagicLTD.com. And then this is his little graphic that we had put up. I don't know if I showed you that or not, but let me do that right now. It's right here. It's all about him. Effective trade show exhibiting. And I used to office with a guy that used to train people, exhibitors, how to do this, because a lot of them are they don't really understand. So there you go. That's all I've got for you. Enjoy the rest of your day. Be good, be kind, be nice. And did I say be nice? Be nice. See ya.